What if the very struggle you've been using to prove your worthiness is actually the invisible barrier keeping you from the reality where you've already won? What if every time you tell your story of how hard things have been, every time you wear your battles like badges of honor, every time you bond with others over shared difficulties, you're literally programming the universe to send you more evidence that life is supposed to be difficult? Here's a truth that's going to shatter everything you think you know about manifestation. You can't align with the reality where you've won while you're still energetically married to the identity of someone who struggles. This isn't about positive thinking or pretending your challenges don't exist. This is about recognizing that there are infinite versions of you existing simultaneously in the quantum field, and the version you're currently experiencing is determined entirely by which identity you're embodying moment to moment. The struggling version of you and the victorious version of you cannot coexist in the same reality because they operate on completely different frequencies. As long as you identify with struggle, lack, and having to fight for everything, you literally cannot tune into the channel where ease, abundance, and natural success are broadcasting. The people who seem to effortlessly attract success aren't lucky. They've simply learned to release the struggle and align with quantum reality where winning is normal and ease is expected. If you're ready to stop being addicted to your struggle stories and start living from the energy of someone who has already won, then everything is about to change. Because today, you're going to discover exactly how to shift your identity from survivor to creator, from someone who fights for scraps to someone who naturally receives abundance. There's an invisible force working against your manifestations that most people never recognize. It's not external circumstances, limiting beliefs, or lack of action, but rather the deeply ingrained identity that finds comfort in struggle itself. You see, your highest reality exists in a frequency where ease, flow, and natural abundance are the norm. But if you're still energetically married to the story of having to fight for everything, you literally can't tune into that channel. It's like trying to receive a classical music station while your internal radio is locked onto heavy metal. The signals are completely incompatible, and no amount of wishful thinking will bridge that gap. The silent sabotage happens because your subconscious mind interprets struggle as safety, familiarity, and even identity. So it unconsciously creates circumstances that validate this outdated programming. Most people wear their struggles like badges of honor, unknowingly broadcasting to the universe, "I am someone who has to work hard for everything," or "Life is difficult and I'm proof of that." This isn't about judgment. It's about recognition that your quantum reality alignment depends entirely on which identity you're embodying moment to moment. When you catch yourself saying things like, "I've always had to fight for what I want," or "Nothing comes easy to me," you're literally programming your reality to deliver more of the same experience. The universe doesn't care about your conscious desires. It responds to your energetic signature. And if that signature is tuned to struggle frequency, that's exactly what you'll continue to manifest. Your highest reality, the one where you've already won, vibrates at a completely different frequency than the reality where you're still fighting. The tricky part is that struggle can become addictive because it provides a sense of purpose and identity that many people mistake for meaning. Think about how many conversations revolve around problems, complaints, and challenges. There's a strange social currency in having difficulties to discuss and overcome. But here's what's fascinating. The moment you truly shift your identity away from struggle and toward natural success, you'll notice how uncomfortable it feels at first, because your ego doesn't know who you are without the drama. You might find yourself unconsciously creating problems just to feel familiar again, or downplaying good things that happen because they don't fit your struggle narrative. This is the silent sabotage in action, and recognizing it is the first step toward breaking free from the energetic prison that keeps your highest reality just out of reach. The universe operates on a perfect matching system. It doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And if you're vibrationally aligned with lack, scarcity, and struggle, that's exactly what will keep showing up in your experience. This energetic mismatch is why someone can visualize abundance all day long while continuing to attract financial stress, or why they can affirm self-love while repeatedly ending up in relationships that mirror their internal unworthiness. Your frequency is like a cosmic GPS that's constantly broadcasting your location to the universe. And if that signal says, "I'm in struggle land," the universe will keep sending you experiences that match that coordinates. To shift your identity means to literally change your energetic address from the neighborhood of lack to the neighborhood of abundance. But you can't fake this frequency. It has to be genuine, or the universe will see right through the pretense. Think of frequency like a radio station that's always broadcasting. Some days you might be tuned to 98.7 FM victim consciousness, while other days you're accidentally picking up signals from 105.3 FM lack and limitation. But your desired reality exists on 111.1 FM natural abundance and flow, and you can't receive that station while your internal radio is locked onto lower frequencies. The energetic mismatch happens because most people try to manifest from their current frequency instead of first aligning with the frequency of their desired outcome. They want million-dollar results while maintaining a minimum wage vibration, or they desire soulmate love while radiating the energy of someone who expects to be abandoned. Success, abundance, and love aren't just external circumstances. They're energetic states that you must embody first before they can manifest in your physical reality. The breakthrough comes when you realize that you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are energetically resonating with in each moment. This is why quantum reality alignment is so crucial. It's not enough to think positive thoughts or take inspired action if your core frequency is still aligned with struggle and lack. You have to literally become the person who naturally receives success, who expects good things to happen, who feels worthy of the best life has to offer. This energetic shift often requires releasing the struggle identity that feels so familiar and stepping into an unknown frequency that feels foreign at first. But the moment you genuinely align with the energy of already having what you desire, reality has no choice but to reorganize itself around this new information you're broadcasting to the quantum field. Your subconscious mind has one primary job: to keep you alive and safe. And it defines safe as anything familiar, even if that familiarity includes pain, struggle, and limitation. This creates what psychologists call the struggle identity loop, where your deepest programming actually resists positive change because ease and success feel dangerous and unfamiliar to the part of you that's been conditioned to expect hardship. Think about it. If you've spent years or decades identifying as someone who has to work twice as hard for half the results, your subconscious interprets struggle as your natural state and success as a foreign invader that must be eliminated. This is why people often sabotage themselves right on the verge of breakthrough. Their internal security system kicks in to restore the familiar dysfunction that feels like home. The loop gets reinforced every time you tell your struggle stories, every time you bond with others over shared difficulties, every time you use your challenges as excuses for why you can't have what you want. It's like your subconscious is taking notes, saying, okay, they really identify with being the person who struggles, so let me create more situations that confirm this identity. But here's what's wild. This same mechanism that keeps you stuck can be reprogrammed to keep you abundant once you release the struggle identity and shift your identity toward natural success. Your subconscious will work just as hard to maintain your new abundant identity as it currently works to maintain your struggle identity. But you have to make the conscious choice to step out of the familiar loop first. Breaking free from the struggle identity loop requires radical self-awareness and a willingness to release the victim stories that have become so much a part of your identity that you don't know who you'd be without them. You might catch yourself feeling uncomfortable when things go smoothly, or automatically looking for problems when life starts flowing easily, or even feeling guilty about success because it doesn't match your historical self-concept. The subconscious clings to familiar pain because it's predictable, manageable, and doesn't require the vulnerability of stepping into unknown territory where you might have to grow beyond your current limitations. But the moment you consciously choose to release the struggle and embrace your natural right to ease and abundance, you create space for a completely different reality to emerge, one where winning is normal and struggle becomes the exception rather than the rule. The moment you stop fighting your current reality is the moment you become available for a different reality to emerge, because fighting anything only strengthens its hold on your experience through the universal law of resistance. Most people exhaust themselves battling their circumstances, arguing with what is, and pushing against the very conditions they want to change, never realizing that this battle energy is actually feeding the problem and keeping them stuck in the frequency of struggle. When you emotionally detach from the battle, not through denial or spiritual bypassing, but through genuine acceptance of what is while simultaneously aligning with what you're choosing to create, you free up enormous amounts of energy that can be redirected toward manifesting your desired reality. Detaching from the battle doesn't mean becoming passive or giving up on your dreams. It means stopping the energetic war that's been raging inside you between what you want and what you currently have. Think of it like quicksand. The more you struggle against it, the deeper you sink, but the moment you relax and stop fighting, you can actually float and find your way out. The same principle applies to your relationship with your current circumstances. When you stop making your present situation wrong or bad, when you stop using it as evidence that you're not worthy of better, you immediately shift from victim frequency to creator frequency. This energetic shift is essential for quantum reality alignment because you can't create from a state of resistance. Creation happens from a state of allowing, flow, and inner peace. The practice of detaching from the battle involves catching yourself in moments of resistance and consciously choosing to soften, breathe, and release the fight. Maybe you're checking your bank account and feeling that familiar panic about money. Instead of spiraling into worry and creating more scenarios to worry about, you pause and say, "This is where I am right now, and it's okay. I'm choosing to align with abundance instead of fighting with lack." Or perhaps you're frustrated with your current job. Instead of spending energy complaining and feeling trapped, you redirect that energy toward embodying the frequency of someone who naturally attracts fulfilling work. The key is to release the struggle without becoming complacent, to accept what is while simultaneously becoming energetically available for something better to emerge naturally and effortlessly. True embodiment of victory goes far beyond visualization or positive thinking. It's about literally becoming the energetic frequency of someone who has already achieved their desires, someone who naturally expects good things to happen, someone who feels worthy of the best life has to offer. This quantum technique works because your nervous system and subconscious mind can't distinguish between a vividly experienced internal reality and external circumstances. So when you consistently embody the energy of already having what you want, your entire being begins to magnetize those experiences into your physical reality. The key is to feel into this victorious energy, not as something you're pretending to be, but as something you're remembering about who you really are underneath all the conditioning and limitations. One powerful embodiment practice involves spending 10 minutes each morning literally stepping into the energy signature of your future self, the version of you who has already won, who has already achieved your desires, who naturally attracts success and abundance. Feel how this person breathes. Notice their posture, their confidence, their inner peace about their worthiness. When you embody victory, you're not acting or performing. You're accessing a frequency that exists right now in the quantum field of infinite possibilities, and you're tuning your personal radio to that station. Throughout your day, you can anchor this energy by asking yourself, how would someone who has already won handle this situation? And then acting from that embodied wisdom rather than from your old struggle patterns. Another transformative technique is what I call living from the end result, making decisions, speaking, and moving through the world as if your desired reality has already manifested. If you're calling in financial abundance, you start making decisions from abundance consciousness even before the money shows up in your bank account. You tip generously, you invest in yourself without guilt, you speak about money with ease rather than stress. If you're manifesting a loving relationship, you start treating yourself with the love and respect you desire from a partner. You create space in your life for love to enter. You embody the energy of someone who knows they're worthy of deep connection. This isn't about fake it till you make it energy. It's about quantum reality alignment, where you literally become the person who naturally attracts and receives what you desire because it matches your energetic signature perfectly. The fundamental difference between survivor mode and creator consciousness is that survivors react to life while creators consciously choose their experience. And this shift in self-perception literally rewires your brain for different outcomes. When you're operating from survivor mode, you're constantly scanning for threats, expecting problems, and bracing for the next challenge, which keeps your nervous system in a state of fight or flight that makes it nearly impossible to receive abundance or recognize opportunities. Creator consciousness, on the other hand, operates from the knowing that you have the power to influence and shape your reality through your thoughts, emotions, and energetic alignment, which opens you up to possibilities that simply don't exist in survivor frequency. Most people learned survivor mode as children when they needed to adapt to circumstances beyond their control, developing hypervigilance and defensive patterns that served them then, but now sabotage their ability to thrive as adults. The survivor identity says, I need to protect myself from life, while the creator identity says, I get to collaborate with life to create something beautiful. This shift your identity process requires consciously choosing to see yourself as powerful rather than powerless, as someone who influences their reality rather than someone who's at the mercy of circumstances. When you operate from creator consciousness, you start asking different questions. Instead of, why does this always happen to me? You ask, what is this experience teaching me? And how can I use this to grow stronger? The rewiring process happens gradually as you consistently choose creator responses over survivor reactions in your daily life. When something challenging happens, instead of immediately jumping into victim mode, you pause and connect with your creator identity before responding. When opportunities arise, instead of automatically looking for what could go wrong, you explore what could go right from your empowered creator perspective. This shift requires patience because your brain has groove patterns for survivor thinking that feel automatic. But every time you consciously choose creator consciousness, you're literally building new neural pathways that make empowerment your new default mode. The transformation accelerates when you realize that creator consciousness isn't something you have to earn or achieve. It's your natural state that's been temporarily covered by survival programming that's no longer necessary or useful. When you fully release the struggle identity and start living from the energy of already having won, the shifts in your external reality can be so rapid and dramatic that it feels almost surreal. Opportunities start appearing out of nowhere, people begin treating you differently, and circumstances align in ways that feel magical but are actually the natural result of quantum reality alignment. This isn't about pretending your current challenges don't exist. It's about refusing to let those challenges define your identity or dictate your energy, which immediately opens you up to possibilities that were always there but invisible to you while you were vibrating at struggle frequency. Living the win now means making decisions from the part of you that knows success is inevitable rather than the part that fears it might never happen. When someone who has released the struggle approaches a business opportunity, they evaluate it from confidence and possibility rather than scarcity and fear, which allows them to see potential that struggle-identified people miss entirely. When they interact with others, they radiate the energy of someone who expects good treatment and naturally attracts respectful, supportive relationships. Their entire approach to challenges shifts from "how do I survive this?" to "how do I use this to expand even more?" This energetic shift creates a completely different trajectory in their life because they're no longer unconsciously creating evidence for their old struggle story. The manifestation shifts become undeniable when you consistently embody victory consciousness across all areas of your life. Not just when you're meditating or doing spiritual practices, but in mundane moments like grocery shopping, stuck in traffic, or dealing with difficult people. Your new energy signature becomes so stable that reality has no choice but to reorganize around this new information you're broadcasting. People who knew you in your struggle phase might be shocked by the transformation, commenting that you seem like a completely different person, which you are. You've literally shifted into an alternate version of yourself that existed all along but was buried under layers of conditioning that taught you to expect hardship. The key is maintaining this victorious energy even when temporary challenges arise, because you now understand that external circumstances are temporary, but your identity as someone who naturally wins is the permanent foundation from which you create your experience. Your reality is always listening to the conversation you're having with yourself, not just your conscious thoughts, but the deeper dialogue between your beliefs, emotions, and energetic signature that's broadcasting 24/7 to the quantum field. This is why daily affirmations and frequency anchors are so powerful when used correctly. They're not just positive statements you repeat, hoping the universe will hear you, but actual tools for reprogramming your subconscious identity and stabilizing your energy at the frequency of your desired reality. The key is choosing affirmations that feel true and exciting, rather than statements that create resistance because your current reality contradicts them. Effective frequency anchors work by associating specific words, gestures, or visualizations with the embodied feeling of your victorious identity, creating shortcuts that allow you to instantly shift your energy back to creator consciousness whenever you notice yourself slipping into old patterns. For example, you might create an anchor by placing your hand on your heart, taking 3 deep breaths, and internally saying, "I am someone who naturally attracts success and abundance," while feeling the energy of that truth in your body. Throughout your day, whenever you catch yourself thinking struggle thoughts or feeling victim energy, you can use this anchor to immediately reconnect with your true identity as someone who wins. The more you practice these anchors, the more automatic they become, until maintaining victorious frequency becomes your natural state rather than something you have to remember to do. Your daily affirmation practice becomes exponentially more powerful when you combine words with embodied feeling and energetic alignment. Instead of just saying, "I am abundant," you feel the relief and joy of already having all the money you need. You embody the confidence of someone who never worries about finances. You align with the energy of someone who naturally attracts financial opportunities. This combination of mental, emotional, and energetic engagement sends a coherent signal to the quantum field that reality interprets as a clear order for your new experience. The transformation happens when these affirmations stop feeling like hopeful wishes and start feeling like simple statements of fact about who you are and what you naturally receive. Remember, your reality is always listening and responding to your energetic broadcast. Make sure you're sending the signal that matches the reality you actually want to experience, rather than unconsciously reinforcing the reality you're trying to change. So here's my challenge for you, and I want you to feel this in your very soul. What would your life look like if you stopped identifying with the struggle and started embodying the energy of someone who has already won? What would become possible if you released the familiar pain of fighting for everything and stepped into the unfamiliar territory of natural abundance? What if the only thing standing between you and the reality where you've won is your addiction to being the person who struggles? I want to know, what struggle story are you finally ready to release today? What battle are you willing to stop fighting so you can align with the victory that's already yours? Share it in the comments below, because your liberation might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to finally let go of their own struggle identity and claim their natural right to win. And listen, if something shifted inside you while watching this, if you felt that recognition that you've been unconsciously choosing struggle over success, then you absolutely must watch what's appearing on your screen right now. Because I'm about to reveal the specific daily practices and quantum techniques that will help you anchor your victorious identity so deeply that struggle literally won't be able to find you anymore. This is how you make winning your new normal instead of the exception. Don't let this moment of awakening fade back into old patterns. Your victorious self is depending on the identity choice you make right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because your journey to shift your identity, achieve quantum reality alignment, and permanently release the struggle is just beginning. And I have so much more to share with you about becoming the person who naturally attracts everything they desire.